So let's start with 5 signs that you are looking for more control. Firstly, talk about when did this happen? So once iOS happened, the changes that says, ask or allow app to track. Since that time, there's been a scurrying around how do we actually go about doing what we're doing in terms of delivering direct response, performance marketing, ROI marketing, short-term tactics, whatever you class it as. But the ability to deliver a performance from your digital ad spend has taken a really big divide. It used to be the case that the best creative with a basic ad structure would get you the worst results or average results. Meanwhile, poor creative with an advanced ad structure would get you the very best results. I believe today it's now that the best creative and a basic ad structure will get you the best results. And those that are still struggling with creative but spending all their time on advanced ad structures, they're going to get average. So the 5 signs you're trying to still dominate with an advanced ad structure and put in all your focus on that, here's the 5 signs you're betting on control to win. You're probably looking for ways to measure the impact of advertising outside of the ad accounts. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with embracing a Triple Whale or a Northbeam and using that as a guiding light in terms of managing spend. Maybe you become a disciple of MER, but you spend so much time on your data modeling that takes up the bulk of where you put your attention. You fight against the AI capabilities of the ad platforms. You're constantly looking for new ways to manipulate and wrestle as much control as you possibly can. Probably writing scripts. You're looking at ways to look at, well, if I do this, what data can I actually pull out from metadata, or what can I see if I cross-pollinate across multiple touch points? Again, you're spending all your time on validating what you're already doing. You're ignoring the platform's own warnings around learning modes, minimum conversion numbers, because you have your own optimization timeframes that you have. You've built your own proprietary predictive models that you put your trust in. You could be militant on cost caps and probably definitely embracing alternative bidding methods. That in itself is not wrong. There's great times to utilize those, but you invest so much time in viewing those as the kind of secret sauce to success. And finally, you probably have the best information to share in a weekly update or email or report. You probably sound like you most know what you're doing. You're the busiest person trying to get the best results. You're going to sound super effective in terms of output. Versus 5 signs you're betting on creative to win. Well, you probably in this camp knew that pre-iOS that creative was a massive growth lever, but the quality of the creative was very poor. And at best was infrequent, and at worst, you basically got recut TV and display ad banners. So for this reason, the benefit of creative always favored those who invested. But as we said before, it was possible to manually tweak and test through that free-flowing pixel data that we all miss to manipulate your ad audience structures and ad structures to maximize really, really large value. But through small iterations and tests, if you're in this camp, you're becoming clearer and clearer, more confident around that the biggest growth lever available to brands is creative, and that embracing a simplified ad structure and allowing the algorithm and its AI capabilities and machine learning to do what it does best to find your target audiences through your creative. You've embraced creative diversification, and that's where you obsess and spend your time over, is making sure that you've got the optimal mix of creative at every tier of the funnel across every possible touch point that the customer may have. You're obsessed with the customer and finding out what their needs are. You trawl all day in reviews. You're constantly researching competitors and looking at the market and affinity categories. You've become obsessed with the delivery of the first 3 seconds of creative. You measure that insistently and look for ways to create predictive models around the engagement with creative and its impact on it. You pay little or no attention to a specific remarketing strategy outside of maybe an offer-based ad or a landing page that can complement that working with the client, but you're not looking anymore to create or spend time in splitting 7 to 14 to 30 to 180 days. You're allowing the algorithm to take it. Now, I think it's important to say that I believe the very best marketers will do both. They will seek not control, but the control mechanisms to be able to deliver the best performance. they will use things like cost caps and alternative bidding to maximize and manipulate the data platforms, the ad platforms, to deliver the best performance for their creative. But I think there's a real risk of doing so much busy work in justifying what you're doing today that by the time that you actually get around to creative, that the market has moved. So I strongly encourage you to embrace the creative, to look at your creative diversification if you have not already, and to maybe start letting go of some of the data controls that you're used to having and embrace the creative. Because I firmly believe marketing's always been marketing. Performance marketing's been able to manipulate that a little bit harder than other channels, but we're now in an era where that's no longer going to be possible.